Hey YouTube, it is Great League and Master League Premier today. Master League Premier is a level 50 league XLs, but no legendary, mythical, or ultra beats. And this Master League Premier has been around since actually season one. Um, has it been around since season one? I say that so confidently, but I'm not actually sure. But it has been around early enough that the Pokemon that have been around since the beginning are still actually somewhat useful. Not all of them are as useful, but there's still some staples like Gyarados and Dragonite and stuff like that that are still in the top. And we're going to look at the rankings in a second here. And it's just been replaced by a few other of the either buff Pokemon recently or Pokemon that have just kind of evolved over time. So here's the list. And like I said, you can point to Gyarados at 3 and 5, Dragonite at 6 and 7, Metagross at 20 as Pokemon that have been around since Master League Premier has been played. And it's because Dragonite is one of the best. Dragonite is even has some niche play. I think there's other better dragons in Master League Open, but it's a very, very strong dragon with the Dragon Breath and Stab, Dragon Breath, and Dragon Claw. Now super power coverage, which is a nice coverage move. So always one of the best ones. Gyarados has always been super high because it has Dragon Breath damage, but not taken super effective from Dragon Breath itself. And there's enough dragons in Goodra and Dragonite and Braxcalibur is there and Dragapult's there. So there's enough dragons that having Dragon Breath is great. And then having Aqua Tail Crunch, not the best moves, but you know, it gives you coverage anyways. And then Metagross, one of the earliest teams I have, and I'm still going to showcase it. Dragonite Double Steel. Dragonite on the lead, Metagross and Excadrill used to be the safe swap. You can replace it with other like Goldengos here, so maybe you want to replace it with that as your second steal if you want to run that team. But yeah, Metagross was one of the best answers for your fairies. So if you're going to run a dragon on the lead like Dragonite, you need a steal for your fairies. So Metagross was that steal. And now you got some newer ones. Again, Dragon's always strong, so I kind of just went over Goodra's at number 2, Dragapult's at 15 with Astonish, Specscalibur's at 18. Dragons, if you play the main series games, you should know Dragon is a very, very, very attack-heavy strong typing. So when you are a level 50 league, that just allows you to maximize whatever has the highest CP and attack and everything there. Not surprising that your Dragons are great. There's not too much more to explain outside of that. Goodra's got maybe a little more bulk than Dragonite. That's probably the reason that it's higher. But, you know, each of them have play. And with so many dragons, hello Florges. Florges now finally has a coverage move. Now the coverage move doesn't help you against Steel, but it'll help you against where would Fairy be resisted? Poison? Nope. Grass doesn't help you there. Grass doesn't help you against poison. Grass doesn't help you against steel that's resisted. Fire? Nope. Okay, so great coverage move. A bait move maybe, but man, Disarming Voice was so much better. Anyways, all that to say, Florges. There's enough dragons in here that it doesn't matter what your second move is. You got fairy moves. Fantastic. I guess in this meta there is Feraligatr and Primarina and Ursaluna and Rhyperior. So I'm guessing just based on what is also in this meta, I guess Trailblaze is good because it hits super effective against water and ground. So there you go. There's your coverage. Plus it is a bait move. It's a bait move compared to Moonblast, but it's, I guess, even with Disarming Voice anyway. So Goldenga is an interesting one. Obviously don't have it, but I have showcased Goldenga before. Every time I showcase it, it's just like, the charges are nice. Shadow Ball is a great move, and so is Focus Blast. 15 and 18 to get to, and it seems like Goldengo doesn't have that bulk to get to those often. So I think you probably want to run it more as like a closer with a shield advantage. Annihilate at 8 and 9 and Machamp at 19 as your fighters. Fighters are kind of a weird one, because it's not like there's a ton here that you actually do super effective against. There's Rhyperior and Avalugg and stuff, but, you know, Florges as fairies, Gyarados and Dragonite as flyers, even Metagross as a steals half psychic. So it's just like, I don't know where you where the strength is on this Pokemon. But, you know, I guess it's running Ice Punch. Shadow's running Ice Punch. Non-Shadow's running Close Combat. Ice Punch gives you Dragon coverage. Rage Fist obviously allows you to ramp up like crazy. Oh, look, Feraligatr. I was worried that we wouldn't see Feraligatr as a top meta in one of these leagues, but I guess with Shadow Claw, Hydro Cannon, you're always a top meta. And I guess Ice Beam actually is great coverage in this meta. Glycopod, I didn't actually team build with Glycopod because I just rehashed old teams because the meta is the same as before. But there is actually a new, basically pretty much one of the only new ones on this list is Glycopod with that Aqua Jet. Which is an interesting one because it's actually saying to run Aerial Ace instead of X Scissor. I guess if you run X Scissor and Aqua Jet, stuff like Gyarados would resist everything. So having, and same with Dragonite and stuff like that. So having Aerial Ace actually gives you some coverage move against those Pokemon. So I guess it makes sense. But now I'm actually, I know Aqua Jet is a better damage per energy move than X Scissor. 100% I understand that. Dragon resists water. Water resists water, and the last time I checked, that's the main meta here. I guess Aqua Jet does hit super effective against Rhyperior and Ursaluna, but I don't know. I guess you hit neutral against Florges and Annihilape too, so maybe it probably sims better against most things, but I don't know. I don't actually know what the right moveset on Golisopod would even be with this meta. Ursaluna 20 to a high horsepower. Oh yeah, I remember using it. It has Swift now. Okay, you know what? Has Swift. It's bulky. Tackle's not a great move, unfortunately. I've used Ursaluna multiple times in Master League Premier. Just Tackle's not a good move. But you do have a Stab Swift now at 12, which is not bad. Because your bait move before was like a Thunder Punch or something like that. So having a Stab Swift is, that's not bad. Primarina with Waterfall. You're going to see a double fairy team. Primarina, you basically try to like pull out something that would resist fairy, like a steel, and running it with Waterfall, kind of catching them off guard there. Rhyperior, Mudslap got buffed a few seasons ago. So Mudslap for your steals, Breaking Swipe for your dragons, Rock Wrecker for pretty much anything else. Rock Wrecker is a crazy move. Avalugg, Ice Fang. I guess Ice Fang got a buff. Maybe a couple seasons ago now. So plus Avalanche is such a hard hitting move. Body Slam bait is not amazing, but there's that. And then I already went over Metagross. Okay. So I hope you like super old teams. I'll talk about how you can like just replace like one or two of these Pokemon. Like for example, Excadrill's not on the top list anymore. There's Goldango there. There's Metagross there. So there's other options. I still like Excadrill. The problem with Excadrill is Mudshot got nerfed and Rock Slide got nerfed. Not this season, but like previous seasons. So Excadrill doesn't have the same play that it used to. It was a great play because you resisted all the Air Steel, so you resisted the Dragon Breaths. And you had that Rock Slide coverage for Gyarados and all of the, like a Dragonite, which are like the two main metas. And then again, Steel resisting Fairies and the Dragon. So Excadrill had a ton of play. Unfortunately, Mudshot drove on nerf. You can replace it with another Steel. Same sort of concept. As you see, Florges with Disarming Voice. Yeah, I guess you can run Trailblaze now as a cover move. And Annihilape, this one was running Night/Shadow Ball. It now has access to Rage Fist and a buffed Ice Punch and Close Combat. So I don't even think this is the right moveset to run right now. Definitely an earlier team there, but one that probably still works. Florges is ranked number 1. You're going to see it on multiple teams. It is fantastic. And this is why I'm actually surprised Trailblaze is on. See, because Trailblaze, it's going to be a little bit of a sidebar here, but Trailblaze is strong because it can boost your attack. But Fairy Wind doesn't do anything for the attack. Fairy Wind is a fast charging move. So boosting your attack with a move that's not really hard hitting doesn't seem that valuable to Florges on me. Like I said, there are grounds and there are waters in this meta, so maybe it actually does give you enough coverage there. Disarming Voice was a fantastic move, and it is a fantastic move because a lot of the time, one Moonblast wouldn't take out, so you'd have to go Moonblast, Disarming Voice, but sometimes 2 Disarming Voice was enough because it actually always seemed to hit harder than you expected to. So I'm kind of surprised it's actually saying Trailblaze. But this one has Feraligatr, obviously Hydro Cannon and Ice Beam for all those dragons. And another old one, Skeldurge on this list. I guess again with the dragons, it's a little tougher, but Florges is on the list as the number one. So I think Skeldurge has played in this meta. It's not on the top 20 list, but it has played in this meta because it because it hits super effective against the steals, which are out there, while also resisting fairy. So that is why Skeldurge had play on this team. Avlog Double Dragon. I remember, and I think that maybe this was my team that I used. Basically, you say swap Garchomp with, again, Mudshot got nerfed, so maybe this is an older team. But the concept is you try to draw out a fairy. When they see dragon, they're like instant swap to a fairy. But you have Mudshot Earth Power, so you can hit neutral on some of the fairies, unless it's Togekiss. Then everything's resisted. But if they have Florges as the main fairy now, which most probably use, or even Primarina, you can actually hit neutral with Mudshot Earth Power, stay in that matchup, and maybe not win, but do an insane amount of chip. I used Avlog. I think with Avlog, I was actually just testing it out at the time. You can probably run something smarter to beat those fairies and Primarina. And then your Dragonite in the background is free because you do not want Dragonite on a fairy because you're just going to get absolutely walled there. So basically the thought process on this team was always to try and draw out with Garchomp. Maybe there's other dragons that work now over Garchomp, but that's the concept of it. You're going to get a lot of ABB style teams here. This was the same thing, Florges, Primarina with Dragonbreath, Gyarados. Again, you're safe swapping Primarina, hoping that they see the fairy and immediately swap, even though water neutralizes steel. But like if it's a Excadrill, would think like, oh, fairy, I'm resisted, and then just you're getting hit with super effective waterfalls while resisting. Well, no, you don't resist anything, but you're hitting super effective waterfalls as opposed to Charm being resisted. As you can tell, don't use Hydro Pump. Use Hydro Cannon if you have it. But that was basically the idea, was to use Primarina as a safe swap, try and catch people off guard thinking that it's a Charm user when it is not. Dragonite Double Steel, again, the oldest one in the book. Excadrill is your safe swap. Try and draw out a fighter. Try and draw out water. Because like Gyarados was always a big issue for Metagross when you played, because Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash and Earthquake were all resisted on Gyarados. So the concept of this team was always safe swap Excadrill, try and draw out like your like a lot of people ran Waterfall Gyarados at the time, so try and draw out like Waterfall Gyarados, get off usually 2 Rock Slides. Again, Mudshot got nerfed, so maybe these aren't as relevant anymore. And then Dragonite back in to beat that, and then Metagross roams free in the back. And then one more I put together last year for more updated, having your Rhyperior Mudslap buff, Florges, and Goodra used as a safe swap. As you can tell, so this was at last season, maybe 2 seasons ago. This was 1 or 2 seasons ago when I put this together. And look at the meta. Florges, Goodra, Dragonite, Gyarados, Rhyperior, Feraligatr, Ursaluna, Excalibur, Dragapult, Primarina, Metagross, Avalugg, Garchomp, Golisopod, Annihilate, Mamoswine, Skeletor, Swampert, Magnezone, Snorlax. This is what I'm talking about. The Master League Premier has not changed. So why am I going over old teams? Because it still works. Again, maybe like a couple Pokemon don't work as well anymore. Like Excadrill probably doesn't work as well because Machado and Rockslide got nerfed. So replace it perhaps with another Steel that would work, or just like think through those Pokemon. But just to give you ideas of teams, ideas of Pokemon that work, a lot of it's still going to be the same. You're going to get a heavy dose of Florges, Dragonite, Gyarados, probably Rhyperior, probably Primarina, maybe Metagross. Maybe you see more of these like lower Pokemon on the list. Like Feraligator's not on this list. Oh yeah, it is. That's up there. Like Feraligatr, Golisopod, maybe Annihilate. So you may see more of those that didn't have as much play previously, but are now in like the top like 10. So maybe those get a rise up, and some of the ones I talked about get a rise down. Not rise down, but move down a bit. But yeah, so we'll probably do mostly Great League this week, but if you want to send some Master League Premier, I will definitely showcase it this week. But again, please do it early because as you saw on my community post and in this past weekend, I'm going to cut down to one video per on the weekend, just to have a little more time and not totally burn out. Anyways, that is it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.